What is up, world? Welcome to Apocaflix now. This is our movie show. We're ready to talk some movies, maybe a little bit of TV. I am your host, Jacob Bartley. I am joined by Brian Avalosino and Mr. Gio Reynolds making his debut on Apocaflix now. Welcome, Gio. We are glad to have you, man. I'm sure we're going to have some great discussions with you here. And of course, we got Mr. Jake Berlin over there on the controls, ready to get to work wearing his yard work shirt. That's actually an awesome shirt, man. So I know we're not a sports show, guys, but have you seen the San Francisco 49ers?
Oh my God.
4-0 record.
Stop.
I'm just saying.
Stop.
We're in NorCal. We're in Sacramento, California, for those of you who don't know. I just want to get Jake and Brian's thoughts on the 49ers.
If we played,
I'm just kidding. I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure
Absolutely
last time
not.
we played, it was a whooping. We whooped you guys' ass.
I was skeptical on the Niners at first because they played some bad teams, but I'm all in now. As you can
Because
see,
you think Cleveland, you
I'm
beat
wearing my
Cleveland.
Niners hat. Hey, this week's gonna be a true test. The Rams. When we whoop the Rams, but
Beat the Rams
we're
by
truly-
more than a field goal, and I'll think
we're
about
gonna
that
whoop
you're
the
actually
Rams, but in LA this weekend for sure. But we're not here to talk about that.
Don't feel bad about jumping in about protecting the Raiders a little bit.
No, I mean
I didn't say anything bad about the Raiders.
I stay quiet, and a lot of people who are probably listening to this don't know, probably might not live in California, but San Francisco fans are the worst fans on the planet. They are the worst fans on the planet. I'm telling you, and I'm not calling you two. I'm not calling you two.
No, these two are.
I'm not calling you two terrible fans, but
Cowboys.
San Francisco fans, they are the most bipolar fans on the planet. When your team's winning, you guys talk the most shit out of everybody.
I'm not talking
Everyone.
I'm just talking good about the Niners.
But then you guys get on your high horse, but the second you guys lose,
we hate our team.
you guys hate it. You
Yeah,
absolutely
I don't do
hate
that.
it.
I don't do that.
Yeah, they don't want to be part of it. They're like, oh my God, we need to get rid of the team. We need to restart. But because they're undefeated right now, all these Niner fans are on their high horse, thinking that they're going to go to the frickin' Super Bowl.
We have high standards. And when our team's not doing well,
I'm just saying, as Raider fans, and we've been bad for a long time, we stick by our teams no matter what. I'm not saying you guys don't, but a lot of Niner fans, Giants fans.
Other Niner fans.
The last 10 years.
Do you know what we've been through the last 10 years? Come on.
And the past year, the Raiders fans have been through
The past year, like,
terrible.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
I don't hate the Raiders.
I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying
Yeah.
San Francisco fans, and it happens with Warriors, Giants, and the Niners. All three of those teams, they are the worst fans on the planet. I'm sorry. Like, I hate the
That's
Yankees.
your
I hate the
opinion.
Cowboys. Like, I hate the big market teams. I do. But San Francisco fans are the worst. They are the worst.
I kind of feel that about Raiders fans, but
How?
that's a discussion for
How?
another day. Because I don't even want to get into it. I mean, and Dodger fans too as well.
Dodger
Sorry.
fans, yeah, they're
Sorry,
terrible.
Dodger
They're
fans.
terrible.
All right, well, let's get into what we've been watching lately. And there's a lot of stuff out there. I know we've been watching the Arrowverse episodes,
Big time.
everything other than Arrow, because it hasn't aired yet.
Comes out this week.
And
Comes out
then
Monday.
for me, Jake, are you caught up on Star Wars Resistance yet?
Yep, so is Brian.
Did you watch the first episode?
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Let's talk about it. So, obviously not in spoiler depth. We're not going to talk in spoiler depth,
We
but
know what happens.
I was lukewarm
We don't know
on
what
it.
happens, Gio.
I was lukewarm on it. I knew you said it was going to be an
Filler.
introduction episode.
Yeah, it was a filler episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it does set up some cool things
Mhm.
going forward. But it was all right. I'm still going to watch it just because.
Well, they revealed some cool, interesting stuff. They revealed like the comms essentially upstairs with all the buttons and like driving the ship and
Oh, yeah.
essentially like upstairs where there's like you look out the window. And I forget what it's called or what they called it. I don't know why. It's
Command center?
the command center. There you go. The command center. There, the command center. They revealed that.
I literally finished it last night, so it's like
There's some interesting stuff with the First Order going on. Obviously, the two Resistance people that were in the first season are now part of the First Order.
Yeah, that's the best thing going on about it.
Yeah.
I love the last shot when
Me
she
too.
puts on the.
The blonde guy, the racer that conned them,
Oh, I must have missed that.
and then their good friend. Is her name Tan?
I think it's
Tam.
Tam.
That's
Tam.
what I was trying to look.
Um,
Which is crazy because she's actually a good person.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that just because you're on the First Order side and you believe in what they do doesn't mean you're a bad person.
exactly.
Well, she felt
Exactly.
betrayed by
Exactly. Well, he lied to her and everything.
I'm
so,
waiting to see
yeah.
what happens because they're going. We know that they're going to Dakar, and by the Last Jedi, Dakar gets destroyed. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when they show up there, because it's all kind of starting to line up with the Last Jedi and what's going on. But we'll see how long it takes to get there.
Yeah. Is this another
So-
Rogue One situation?
Very well could be.
Or another Rebel?
I like it though.
situation?
I do like it. It's getting into the canon stuff of Star Wars, which is what I like.
Yeah.
So
It's crazy how it's kind of lining up with the timeline that we know with the
Yeah.
Last Jedi and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see how it goes. And it's interesting because like Rebels, right? It was in the past, but this is going side by side with the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi.
the continuity is directly in line
Yeah.
with everything.
It's
yeah.
pretty cool, and we all know it's the last season. They couldn't really do another season.
Well, it only makes sense because they're also probably filling it to figure out how they're going to tell the story of Ahsoka and Sabine.
Exactly.
That's the
This-
next animated series, and they're probably just waiting.
I don't mind Resistance. I don't love it, but it is really a filler show.
It's not the Clone Wars Rebels
Yeah.
for sure, but it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten
It
a lot
does.
better.
The end of season 1 is a lot better,
Yes.
and then I think we're gonna get into some more mature.
And
things.
Kaz is such an interesting character. He's such
I
an
like him.
interesting character,
I like
and he's also a very important character, having nothing to do with the Resistance firsthand. Like he's a spy, obviously, but that's telling to what they do, the Resistance, outside of what we see in the movies, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's crazy what he's gone through already. Where he comes from and what happens at the end of season
Yeah,
1.
yeah, no,
How-
no, spoil it. Yeah.
And how that connects to the Force Awakens, and so that's pretty tragic. To be
We got to
honest.
see a
So-
different perspective of that entire story, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah. So we'll talk more about Star Wars Resistance next week if they don't have one of those weird weeks where they don't show an episode, but they don't usually do that at the beginning of the season. Gio, what have you been watching lately, man?
So I started The Office about a couple weeks ago, and catching up. I know, like, the first time I saw The Office, I wasn't into it. It might have been just my state of mind and mood during that time, but I started watching it again, and that show is funny. It's really funny.
I started watching it too, and I love it. And freaking John Krasinski, man, I was telling them
John
before,
Krasinski, yeah.
I like John Krasinski, but watching this show took it to another level. He's so charismatic on that show. It's
The more
crazy.
episodes I watch, the more I'm becoming a fan of BJ Novak. Like
Yeah,
the
he's
10
interesting. He's very subtle in the show.
He is.
But also, he's one of the main producers and the main writers and
Uh-huh.
creators of The Office, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And he's so young. And
Yeah.
when they made the show, he was very young.
Yeah, he's giving me that how Adam Scott was in Parks and Rec, although his part's not as heavily involved
Yeah.
as Adam Scott. So I've been watching The Office. I also saw what Zach Galifianakis'
Between the Two
Between the Two
Ferns,
Ferns.
the movie.
Yeah, I gotta say, every actor, celebrity cameo that makes an appearance in there, it's so funny. It's so funny because he just roasts these celebrities on just who they are in Hollywood. Matthew McConaughey. He's like, so how does it feel? Are you surprised that you won an Oscar for acting? And McConaughey's like, that's what I do. I
So
act.
it's an actual film. Does it have a narrative to it, or is it just a random series of interviews?
There is a narrative to it, but I guess it just expands on the mini. What is it, Jacob? A web series?
Yeah, so they did a web
Yeah, I
series,
remember that. Yeah.
and it's just essentially him interviewing people, and it's all scripted, but it's
Yeah.
it's extremely funny. Like one of the best parts about it, and this is in the trailer, when he has Benedict Cumberbatch on, he's talking about Marvel movies, and,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he starts saying his last name. He's like Benedict Cumberbatch. He's trying to pronounce his last name. He
Oh
says like
my
6 different last names, and Benedict Cumberbatch is just sitting there like Cumberbatch, like he's totally playing into it. So it's really funny.
The one
But-
with Brie Larson's pretty good too.
Yeah, the Brie Larson one's really good. Yeah, it's
Man, I
really
need to
good.
watch this.
Yeah,
Check it out.
it's
Sold
super
me. I wanna
funny.
see it.
Yeah, check it out.
That's awesome. So I started watching El Camino last night. Unfortunately, it was like midnight, and I had to turn it off like 30 minutes in. But I love the beginning to it. Brian, you've seen it.
I already
No
watched it.
spoilers, but what are your thoughts?
It was good. It was dark.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You liked it? So
I
for
don't.
me...
You can't.
All right,
really say
whatever.
it.
All right, so I seriously, I forgot I was watching a movie, and it just felt like the next
It does.
episode of Breaking Bad.
It will feel like that the whole entire time.
It's so cool.
The whole entire time.
And I don't know how to explain it without spoiling it, but I just love what happens in the very beginning, where he goes and how that whole thing transpires. And how he gets helped out a little
yeah.
bit in the beginning. I love that. I thought that was great. Yeah,
Wow,
so
say-
we can't talk much about it.
If I say one thing, you're gonna
Yeah,
like.
so don't worry. I'm gonna finish the movie and maybe we'll talk more about it next week. We should maybe you and I can do a spoiler discussion.
Didn't you
on
watch
it.
Breaking Bad or no?
Yeah, I'll be watching it.
Yeah.
I'll be watching it
Maybe
this
we
weekend.
can do a spoiler discussion on it.
We might be able to do it next week on the show.
Yeah.
Or maybe do it beforehand and probably piece it out.
That'd be cool. That'd
Yeah.
be cool. So Jake, regarding the Arrowverse, so just basically, what was your favorite episode of the premieres this week? And I know you like Batwoman, but
I'd
Was it your
probably
favorite?
say that one.
okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really dig the first episode of The Flash.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really dig. There were parts of it.
I did.
See, there were parts of
I
it,
did.
and there were definitely things of it. But I'm extremely exhausted of Iris. Extremely exhausted of Iris.
I've felt like that for a while.
She's the same character over and
I would-
over and over
dude,
again.
I totally
over and
agree
over
with
and
you.
over again.
She has not changed. She's always just going in a circle. Always. She's super strong, super tough, and then she's very vulnerable.
And this, and
it just
I
keeps
get the
going.
Nora stuff that happens. Like I understand what's
Yeah.
going on because they lost their daughter from their daughter from the future, etc. Whatever. But it's like, move on. Like I get it. It's hard to move on, but you kind of have to develop at some point and like
Yeah.
figure yourself out and kind of evolve as a character. She's
And
not doing anything
it's-
for Barry. She's not doing anything for Barry.
Honestly, I think she holds him back.
Yeah. And they've said they've explained before this season. They said that this season will really dive into their relationship,
We've
like the
been
comics,
doing that,
but like the
though.
comics, which is a good thing because she's a great part of the comics.
Okay.
She's an amazing part of the comics, but they haven't really used her how she should be used. And I hope she
Okay.
gets back
in
into
the
that.
comics. Does she go out in the field and join the battle? Because
No, she's a reporter.
I hate when
She's
she
a
does
reporter.
that.
That's what they haven't
Like,
done.
she grabs one of the guns and goes out and fights. What are
So
you doing?
she's a
normal
reporter,
person.
and they need to have her reporting, which is what she did in this first episode. And there were moments of it, I'm like,
So
okay, I
liked
liked it
her
a little
in
bit.
season 1 when she's doing all the reporting
Exactly.
and logging. I love
Exactly.
that. And she started her own paper, right?
Exactly.
So-
The blog.
The
Yeah,
blog.
yeah, yeah.
So hopefully she gets to that because that's what
Yep.
she does. I don't want to see her out on the battlefield taking part in the action. It
No.
doesn't make any sense.
No.
But regardless of that, I actually really like the Flash episode. Dude, when he goes in, well, whatever. It's
You can
really
start
kind of a
the black
spoiler,
hole?
but when he goes into the black hole
And the Flash
the music's
song?
playing, dude, I
Yeah,
love
Flash Gordon.
that.
Flash. Ah.
Yeah, dude, that
so
was
good.
so awesome.
So
And then,
good.
Cisco's like, I've been waiting to play this for the
Yes.
right moment.
And then they have that little banter, which is cool. And Iris is like, she's like, really? And then she goes, okay, yeah, it works.
Yeah, exactly.
And it plays over.
And I
in the
love
episode.
alright, when he goes in and then it's like you can hear the beat in the background. It's like dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun,
You
dun.
know it's
like
coming.
pause, and then he comes out and
And it starts playing
"Flash."
again.
Dude,
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool.
So I like the way that the episode started because there's always been this question through these seasons. They've always put him up against a speed suit that's better than him,
Mhm.
right? Zoom, you had Savitar,
That's what
you
draws
have
me out of it.
you have Reverse Flash,
it sucks.
It-
but
it happens, but
how- who else
that's-
is he supposed to fight?
but that's
though?
part of the
Yeah.
comics. That happens in the
Yeah.
comics.
And cold.
But well, no, and they used him, but they used the speedsters
Captain
more.
He was one of the best characters.
They used the speedsters more, but I really liked the opening of the episode because they had him going up against Godspeed, and that's kind of a tease for what's going on with that character. But Cisco says, and it's his girlfriend looking at it, they're like, "What's that?" And he goes, "The real deal." Like they're evolving Barry into becoming like the real deal Flash that he's supposed to be for the past 5 seasons. And you see him, he's going up against Godspeed, who's extremely good at what he does, but Barry just like literally goes double the speed past him and then comes back around. And I love that line Cisco says, the real deal, because it's like, okay, the show may be evolving finally and kind of stepping into a different direction, which I really wanted after season 2, because season 2 was so good, and then they stepped back, and for like the past 2 seasons, it's kind of been like a blunder a little
No, I
bit.
agree.
I hope it elevates itself this season because Arrow's gotten better. Legends of Tomorrow is really good. Supergirl's awesome. This one's kind of been like in the back of the pack, just kind of sitting there for me. And so I hope it kind of
Legends didn't
expands.
premiere this week, did it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, because if so,
I may
that's
have
the
missed
only
it if
one
it
I
did.
missed.
But from what I like Batwoman the most personally.
Okay.
I like Batwoman the most.
Okay.
But like I told you in the chat, I like the dark and grittiness of it.
I don't know if I would consider it dark and gritty though.
It had dark and grittiness
It
to it.
does, but it also. Well, I guess all these shows have cheesiness. All of them, the CW shows,
Mhm.
they do, and I got that CW vibe
It's
I
fair.
don't know. You see,
I also like the twist at the end though, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody.
Don't.
That the
That's
twist,
my next show.
the
You
twist,
haven't watched it yet?
That one.
the
That's
twist
my
got me
next show.
really excited.
Okay, I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's just I liked it, and there's some really good things in there, and I know what you're talking about. And I'm not gonna say I predicted it, but I had that thought in the middle of the
Yeah,
episode. I was like,
yeah, totally.
maybe that's that, and then it was, which is pretty cool. And I love how Batman plays into it, and he's not in it. He's
No, I know.
not really in it, but just the way how he's kind of just looming, his presence is looming around, and I want to learn more about Batman and
Bruce
how
Wayne.
things happen regarding her and all those type of things.
Well,
I'm
they've
interested.
set up a very different kind of Batman in this world. It's a very different kind of
Is
Batman.
she on Earth 1?
She's on her own Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the crossover last year, they go.
They traveled to her Earth.
Yeah.
No, I may be wrong.
No, actually, I think they're in the Arrow.
They are in the Arrowverse,
Yeah,
I
they
believe.
are.
Yeah, you're right.
Actually.
I think you are
So,
right. It's so
Is
confusing.
Michael Keaton her Batman? Which would be
No, I
kind of
hope not.
cool.
Hope not. I hope he's a different Earth.
Yeah. I didn't love Supergirl this week. Did you?
It was okay. It's
Yeah.
the first episodes. The first episodes are always like blah, you know. It's like Resistance. It's just it's an opening episode to get us
That's
back into
true.
the fold, you know.
That's
So,
true.
Um,
Yeah.
but
All right. Well, I'm gonna say Flash is my favorite of this
Batwoman.
week, but we'll,
Arrow would definitely take the cake for sure.
We'll see. Arrow's next week.
It's only
right?
10 episodes, dude. It's this week.
Cool. Yeah.
This
it-
upcoming
Alright.
week.
This comes out on Monday. It'll be tonight when this comes out.
We're
So,
still in this week. It's Saturday.
Yes.
So next week is
yes, he is
Right,
correct.
Ryan?
Sure.
He is correct.
Monday. And then Jake, you said you've been watching Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, just quickly because we only have a couple minutes for this segment left. Yeah, I started Peaky Blinders a long time ago when it first came out. Like I caught the first 3 seasons or whatever, and then for whatever reason I just lost track of it. Possibly because Netflix does the binge thing, and I just forgot about it. You know, it's a year and a year away from watching it again, and but because the new season came out, I binged season 3 and 4. Or 4 and 5, whatever the seasons are, the last 2 before this this new season. I love this show. This is one of the, and people may argue with me, but this is one of the greatest television shows ever created in my mind. It is so fantastic. The characters that they develop, the storytelling that they tell, the historically accurate events that they use for the show in the time period is remarkable. Prohibition, Al Capone, the Italian mob, like all of these things going on. It's so fascinating to see it play into this world because it's not happening in the U.S. It's happening across the world. And then Cillian Murphy he is so good at what he does. He is so good at what he does. Tom Hardy's in the show. He pops up every once in a while as his character. The supporting cast, and I don't know their names, but the gentleman that plays Arthur, Cillian Murphy's brother in the show, is so freaking incredible. I binged it and I went episode by episode, and then I can't wait to see this new season. I'm so excited because it left off on a really interesting part that plays into the history of what we know in the U.S., and I'm excited to see how that all unfolds. So
Awesome.
and
That shows-
Adrian Brody was the leader of the Italian mob last season.
Really?
He was the leader of the Italian mob last season.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he was awesome. He was
Dude.
awesome.
So it has mob elements to it.
Oh, it's about a mob.
Dude,
They're a
that's
mob.
crazy because you don't typically like mob stuff.
Cillian Murphy is the leader of a mob. It's I don't know where it's either Irish or Scottish. It's either Irish or Scottish because their accents are super heavy.
Yeah, I definitely gotta check this show out. It's been on my list for a while, but
So
I think I might
good.
move it up because I
So
need a
good.
new show to binge right now.
Tommy Shelby, man, the
Yeah.
Shelbys, dude, it's so good.
I'm gonna check it out for sure. All right, so moving on to our hot take of the week, and I'm sure this is going to draw some interesting conversations. So, if you haven't heard, Martin Scorsese, it's going around in the headlines that he says Marvel movies aren't cinema, and you can look up the word cinema in the dictionary, but what cinema is to one person is different to other people. But to me, cinema is literally the art of movies, of film. And he's saying they aren't cinema. And I'm just going to read...
If it's in the theater, it's cinema.
I'm just going to read... I mean, I think that's the literal definition, right?
Probably.
But I'm just going to read his quote. He said, "I don't see them. I tried, but that's not cinema. Honestly, the closest thing I can think of them, as well made as they are, with actors doing the best they can under the circumstances, is theme parks. It isn't the cinema of human beings trying to convey emotion psychological experiences to another human being. I love Martin Scorsese. He's one of the greatest directors of all time. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. But I 10,000% disagree with this.
So do I.
A million% disagree.
Gio, you
with
probably
this.
agree with him, correct?
But
We'll get there.
here's the thing. Is he serious right now? It's human beings trying to convey emotions, psychological experiences to another human being. Have you seen Endgame? Have you seen Infinity War? Have you seen Civil War? I don't think he's even seen those films, to be honest. Maybe he watched.
He probably watched Hulk and that was
He
it.
probably watched the first Avengers film, which if he only watched the first Avengers movie, I could see where he's coming from with no other context or perspective on it at all. Even though there are these things in that movie too. But look at Black Widow as a character. And look at her scene in Endgame at the beginning with Captain America. Are you telling me that this isn't human beings trying to convey emotions, psychological experiences to another human being? Steve Rogers is holding meetings to help people get over the snap.
The bliss.
This is completely ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't even make sense. And I love Martin Scorsese.
Everyone has their own opinion, obviously. Like, everyone
It's
has their own
subjective.
opinion.
It truly
It very
is.
much is.
Yeah.
And I understand, this has actually been happening a lot lately. Like, Mark Maron came out and said that he doesn't like Marvel movies. He doesn't like the superhero genre. He doesn't like the
And
superhero
that's
genre.
totally fine.
Jennifer
There's nothing
Aniston
wrong
came
with
out as
that.
well and said that there needs to be less of them. Scorsese, I understand, but you also have to understand that there are periods in film where certain genres are at the height of everything and certain genres take a backseat. It happens. It's a constant circle. It's a constant circle that always happens. Like Westerns 40 years ago, they were being made all the time. They're not being made these days, right? Rom-coms were made a decade ago in the early 2000s. They're hardly being made these days. They're being made by Netflix only, right? Like, it's a constant circle.
And I mean, you could say mid 2000s or late 2000s comedies like the
Exactly.
Judd Apatow comedies.
Exactly,
are
and so
coming out all the time.
right now, superhero movies are the hot take because one, studios are about making money. They're the hot ticket. Two, the universe of these characters, you can build something like Marvel has done to really bring fans in, go to multiple generations, do it for a long time. It's an instant lock for 5, 10, 15 years of making money if you do it correctly. And that's why studios do it. They're all about making money. And because of certain things that go on in our society with money, it makes sense for them to do this instead of taking a chance with a smaller budget film like a Silence of Scorsese's or something along that lines. You know what I mean? And so it's a dumb comment to a sense because it's his opinion. But everyone has their own opinion. He's a filmmaker of a certain era that made movies a certain way, and comic book movies weren't around. And so it's hard for him to transition probably, which is happening to a lot of people. And it's unfortunate that it comes out. And I guarantee you he didn't mean to say cinema. He probably could have phrased it differently and it would have made completely different.
That's the thing. It's the words. He's saying they're not cinema. He's basically saying they don't count as movies.
Yes.
I don't think he means that. All he needs to say is, I don't like them.
Yeah.
They're not my cup of tea. I don't prefer them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's really saying, but I just think the wording is completely off in this whole quote.
My problem was when he gets into the detail of like why it's not.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem.
Like conveying emotion. Like I understand like certain dramas like an Ex Machina or something along that lines where it's a full-fledged drama like a Moonlight or something like that, right? It conveys relationships and drama and a character to a different level than a Marvel movie does. It does. But that doesn't mean that those movies don't have it. Like Infinity War, look at the hearts that were tore out at the end of that movie. Like that conveys emotion, right? Captain America Winter Soldier, that conveys emotion. Civil War, between Tony and Steve, that conveys emotion.
I can literally come up with 50 examples from
Yeah.
the MCU alone.
Like Clint and Natasha when she died in Endgame. His emotion, like that conveys
Exactly,
emotion.
Yeah, I completely agree. That to say that specifically, I think pisses me off more than.
And he probably has never even seen one. That's what's funny about it.
Yeah.
Probably has never even seen one.
Well, he said, I don't see them. I tried, you know?
Which one though?
Yeah.
Which one is the answer? You know.
I'm guessing, honestly, he went and he watched the first Avengers movie when it came out because of all
Probably.
the hype, and he was like, this is not for me. And that's it.
Gio,
That's
you're
what I'm
saying you're
guessing.
staying awfully silent over there.
I was listening.
Thoughts?
So, Scorsese, who also happens to be the executive producer of Joker in theaters right now.
I thought they came out and said that he wasn't.
No, he's an executive producer, but we don't know how much involved he is. He may have just got it
He
off.
kind of put it all together, like
Yeah,
got it greenlit,
and then probably stepped away. Yeah.
But still,
We don't know. So, I mean, he doesn't see. The first part of the quote says, I don't see them. So that right there tells you, he probably hasn't seen Endgame. He probably hasn't seen Winter Soldier or Civil War, for that matter. So he doesn't see that these Marvel movies, and they're only designed to touch on these, emotional, psychological experiences so much because they are family friendly. They are for everyone. They are, as he calls it, theme park. It's a ride. It's an adventure. It's an experience. You go there to have fun. So I don't completely agree with his comments. Now I'm curious to see if any more was added to this comment that he made. I'll have to go check out the Empire interview that he did. But I think he's coming from a place where his movies are totally different genre, whatnot. So I don't think he just understands that these movies are not meant to do that, if that makes sense. Like you look at a movie like
it's
Joker.
not their purpose.
A movie like Joker is not really a comic book movie. It's
It's a drama.
It's a character piece.
Yeah, it's a drama.
It touches on everything that he says these Marvel movies are not, because again, these Marvel movies, as Josh Whedon called it, they're episodic. They can touch on these emotions, but only for so long because it has to tell a story and move on the universe to the next Marvel movie. So I don't completely agree with his statements, but I also see where he's coming from.
Maybe he only watched Iron Man 2 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Only those two, and then that's where he's getting this from. It's crazy to me because if you look at the Iron Man character alone, look at the way he is in the first Iron Man, how he's changed. In Civil War, when he finds out that Bucky killed his parents and that whole scene, that's an amazing scene emotionally. And then him and Steve Rogers coming back together, what he does in Endgame, his family, his daughter, Pepper.
Well, there's a reason.
crazy.
There's a reason why people want Robert Downey Jr. to be nominated for an Oscar because he conveys emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we move on, I wanted to correct myself a little bit. It's not Irish or Scottish. It actually takes place in Birmingham, England. Peaky Blinders. They just have very heavy accents, which is why I thought that. So.
And are they from Scotland?
They possibly could be, but as far as what I'm reading here, it's in Birmingham, England, post World War I, and they just have some very heavy accents. So.
I'm gonna go check that show out this weekend, probably, to be honest. Like, you got me hyped, honestly, about that. All right, so on to our buy or sell segment. We're also gonna be doing some trailers this week. There's quite a few that came out, but we also have some news stories that we're not gonna skip over like we did last time.
Yeah, we skipped over a good one last week.
I know. So as far as trailers go, we have The Turning, the horror film. We have a new trailer for Onward, the Pixar film. We have a new trailer for Charlie's Angels, and we have a new trailer for Jungle Cruise. I'm going to go to you, Gio. Out of all these trailers, if you had to choose one and buy one and sell all the others, which one would it be?
Jungle Cruise. Look, I don't agree with Dwayne Johnson's choices because he just did Jumanji. Now we're getting another jungle movie. Then he has another jungle movie in Jumanji 2 coming out, and
So you're selling Jungle Cruise?
No,
you're buying?
I'm buying Jungle Cruise.
Okay.
He's trying to tell himself that he's not excited for
Well,
it.
no. But the reason why, there are a couple reasons why. Honestly, all the promotion outside of the movie, like, his social media posts about Emily Blunt, the behind the scenes, their visits to these cons where they hype up the movie, that gets me more excited than the trailer itself. But obviously you got Emily Blunt, and Dwayne Johnson headlining this Disney adventure. Here you got the what's his name, the director, Jamie's.
Oh yeah,
Call it Sierra.
yeah. I'll look it up right now.
Yeah. As a director, I just want to see what they do.
Director of The
what
Shallows, I believe.
Yep. Correct.
What they could do together.
I'm getting his name right.
Because they're doing Black Adam, and I've been waiting for
Black
Black
Adam.
Adam. Black Adam.
Is that official?
That is official.
He wants him to direct it, right?
I don't know if that's an official
Check it.
lock.
Check it.
I'll look.
I mean, we've been hearing about that for.
That's why I'm back here. I'm looking. Don't
Fact
worry.
checker Jake.
Internet's just taking a little long.
But I want to see what they can do together as actor-director duo here. I am also excited for the movie. I can't wait to see Emily Blunt. She's amazing in everything. But I can't help but look to the future. I don't know why.
I actually like this trailer too. This is not my buy over all other ones, but I was not excited for this movie at all. Maybe because of the cast, right? But I like the trailer.
Yeah, it's
It was something that I wasn't expecting, and he's been saying he wants this to be like an Indiana Jones film. It's not. It's never gonna be, but it can have those elements of adventure. And I actually am looking forward to this movie now after the first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jake, how about you, man?
So I'm buying Jungle Cruise as well.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna buy Jungle
Awesome.
Cruise. I love the Onward trailer. I really, really did. It's a fascinating trailer. It's Pixar's first original film in 3 years, I believe.
Inside Out, right?
I believe so. And so it's either 3 or 4
they
years.
Did Incredibles 2
They've been doing
and Toy
sequels.
Story
They've been
4.
doing sequels since Inside
and
Out.
Cars 3.
Yeah. So, and the trailer is so charming, and it's a really touching thing about sons and their father and whatnot. But the Jungle Cruise trailer, I was telling Brian and our friend Shaw this yesterday. First of all, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt's chemistry is remarkable. Like, it is incredible. Not just in the trailer, but what they've been able to do, like, on stage and stuff, like Gia was mentioning, like at D23 and stuff. But I can't get over the fact how they implemented the ride into the trailer.
Exactly. I love that he's actually taking people
Yes,
on Jungle
I
Cruises.
cannot get over the fact that he's faking like the fake hippo,
Yeah.
and his friends are blowing the darts
Oh, I
at
know.
him.
When I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, is he like
Yeah,
putting
like
on a show?
it's.
That's
I was
cool.
that was the biggest question I had going into this movie. Is like, how are they going to implement this specific ride into the movie? They found the most brilliant way to do it, and why I'm so excited about it is because I want to see that entire sequence play out. Because for those of you who have never been on the ride, the catch on the ride is that the boat drivers, they make jokes at the animals and what's going on the ride. Like, they make some really cool modern day jokes and stuff like that. I want to see Dwayne Johnson do that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to see him do something like that on that ride in the movie. And so I'm watching the trailer, but I keep going back to that. I'm like, I can't believe they actually figured this out. Like,
That's
they
really
actually
cool.
figured out a way how to implement that into the film, and it works so perfectly. So
I agree.
I just hope Kevin Hart doesn't make an appearance in the movie.
I don't think he will.
Oh,
I-
every Dwayne Johnson movie, Kevin Hart's going to be in.
I just
From now on.
I had to say that.
Well, on that note, Brian.
Well, so I want to pick Jungle Cruise because of everything Jake said. Like, when I first heard that they were making Jungle Cruise a movie, I was like, what? Like, no, that ride is not something that can be made into a movie. Like, Haunted
They said the
Mansion-
same thing about Pirates of the Caribbean.
This movie's gonna make so much money.
Yeah. Oh.
It's gonna make so much money.
But I think for me, it's dumb to think that Pixar isn't gonna make an amazing movie at this point.
Yeah.
So, like, for me to choose anything other than what Pixar is gonna put out is hard for me to believe. But I literally go back and forth between those two. So if I had to go, I'm going with what I know is gonna come out amazing, which is Onward. Onward, because Pixar doesn't make bad movies like ever. So, but what?
Nothing.
Uh,
Cars 2, maybe.
Okay. I mean, some of the sequels, but like their original movies are not bad. But I got heavy original Pirates of the Caribbean feel watching Jungle Cruise, like that, like that feels
It's
like.
cool because there's the fake ride at the beginning, but then they're actually gonna go on this adventure that has all these real things.
Well, he
happening.
looks like
Yeah.
he's basically a con man on making a Jungle Cruise to make money, and then now he's screwed actually doing it for
Mhm.
Emily Blunt. And to say Emily Blunt is going to not do well in any movie, you are ridiculous.
She's
She's one of Jake's 400 favorite girls. So, but
Good choice.
yeah, she literally, I would dare to say she stole that trailer. Like,
Oh, honestly, she stood out to me more than The Rock.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I guess by onward, but
You talk more about Jungle
I
Cruise
know.
the whole time.
I know. So maybe it is Jungle Cruise. I go
Yeah.
back and forth, but they both were pretty heavily awesome. But to say that Pixar's not going to make a good movie, I think it's stupid to even think.
Well, for me, it's gotta be Charlie's Angels. No, I'm just totally kidding. No offense to that movie, but it's definitely Onward for me.
None of us has even whispered.
Didn't even mention it.
the first
No,
trailer for
it's
Charlie's
great.
Angels was much better than the second one. That's why.
Onward. When I watched this trailer, I just got this special feeling inside me, and it just. Anyways,
Elaborate.
it's all right. So Inside Out. It was was Inside Out really the last original
Yes.
Pixar film?
I believe so.
And you guys know I freaking love that movie. It is one of my favorite animated films of all time. And they're totally different. This is completely different than Inside Out, but they're building this world, right? And I just love the idea of these mythical creatures living in just a modern day world. And I love
planes.
when I saw that creature at the end blow the fire breathing. Was it a dragon? I don't even know. But a fire breathing creature, and it was just so cool. We're gonna see things like
I
that,
like the demon unicorn.
and how they're gonna say if we were
The
to
trash eating unicorns.
like living in a regular like suburban world with all these mythical creatures, and then you have this this family story as well, which is really cool. And I know a lot of times voice acting is irrelevant, but I love that Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are doing it. It's so perfect, like big brother, little brother thing. And it's interesting that they only have the bottom half of the dad. Like, I don't know how that's going to play out for the whole entire movie, but I trust them.
That's kind of the plot of the movie, so
I
it
know.
better work.
I trust them. It's Pixar, and I'm just excited to see as they go on this journey. You're gonna see all these little things where they take, mythical stuff and flip it on its head, and I just can't wait to see that. And it's gonna be amazing. I hope at least.
Will this be the first Pixar feature not involving what's his name? God, the
Lasseter.
Lasseter.
Yeah.
Right? This is the first one. Or?
No, I think Toy Story 4 was.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure he left at the end of last year. So I
Because he
think
definitely produced Cars 3.
He didn't
Yeah.
develop Toy Story.
I'm pretty sure it was. Pretty sure Toy Story 4 was the first one. He was
And
on.
Incredibles 2 must have been in development while he was still there, right?
Yeah. Well, he left last year, and Incredibles 2 came out June of last year. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
Okay.
So-
Then yeah.
yeah, he's over at Universal doing his thing now.
Okay.
So.
Well, just curious. I'm curious to see how Pixar
Transfers.
Yeah, after that. I mean, if Toy Story 4 was in fact the first one where he had no involvement, I'm curious. I haven't seen Toy Story 4. Sorry, okay? Alright, I mean...
Or 3.
I've seen the end of 3, okay? It's very emotional.
Maybe
the best one,
maybe
so.
Kevin Feige got involved
Did
with
you say
Pixar.
3's the best one?
I did.
We're gonna talk.
Maybe Kevin Feige produced Onward. Never know.
That would be pretty
Maybe.
cool.
Who knows?
Kevin Feige on everything.
So we're fire selling the Turning since we knew.
I like the Turning trailer. I do.
mind
It just comes out in January. That's the
Yeah.
problem. And I think Mackenzie Davis is one of the best young talents in the business today.
If
Her
that
and the
movie was
Martian.
coming out this month, it'd make a buttload of money.
Yeah.
You say billion?
Buttload. Not billions. Nowhere close to billions, but if it came around
In
Halloween,
October, yeah.
I think it would.
It looks creepy, and it looks unique compared to other horror films, for sure. All right, so next up we have John Wick. They're doing a spin-off of called The Ballerina, and if you've seen, is it only in John Wick Chapter 3 that they have
Yes.
that stuff?
Yes.
So there's sequences in John Wick Chapter 3 where you see this kind of underground
The Russian ballerina.
ballerina academy, and they're doing a spin-off off of that, and it's going to be directed by Len Wiseman. Jake, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I love the idea of this film. I
So
think
you buy it?
I'm actually selling it.
What?
So
Okay.
here's
I think I know why.
here's the reason why. So that sequence in John Wick 3 is absolutely fascinating.
It's amazing,
John Wick 3 was incredible for a movie itself, but it also did something really, really good world building, and it kind of set things up for spin-offs down the road, and this is definitely high up on
Are
the
we
list for
still
me.
getting the Continental TV show?
Yes.
I hope so.
And that's tying into the movies as well. But the reason why I'm selling it is because of Len Wiseman.
That's
He's not
Okay.
he's not the right director for this type of movie at all.
Here we go.
I'll switch over to Gio's face so we can see Gio's face while I talk. He's not. He has some good movies on his record. He does, but they're not a John Wick type of movie. They aren't a John Wick type of movie. So let me just run through his track record right now as a director. So
Please do.
he has the McClane movie coming out, which is an absolutely terrible idea. The Die Hard movie, Total Recall, which I like Total Recall. A lot of people absolutely hated it. He did Live Free or Die Hard, which isn't terrible.
Yes.
Okay, but again, that's not a John Wick movie. And he did the first two Underworld movies, which are not John Wick movies. And so
You like those Underworld
I do
movies,
like
right?
them,
Yeah.
but for Underworld movies,
Yeah.
they're not John Wick style
Yeah.
movies.
But what is the ballerina going to be?
It's
Is it even an action movie?
so yeah, it's gonna be a John Wick style. So it's a young
Knockoff.
ballerina dancer assassin who's going for revenge for the death of her family. They already revealed that.
Okay.
She's going
so
for
are
revenge.
those ballerinas also assassins?
Yeah.
It's Black
That's
Widow.
crazy.
Yeah.
But they probably, through their ballerina training, they
Let's
become
say
better
that.
assassins.
Yes.
'Cause they're
So
put through hell.
I would love to buy this. I buy the idea. I completely and 100% sell it
No,
because
I
of
agree
Len
with
Wiseman.
you. I
You know who would be the perfect choice for this? Tim Miller.
That would be.
Tim Miller would be the
Or-
perfect choice.
We'll see about
Or
Dark
some
Fate. We'll
young
see.
up and coming director who directed one movie who knows how to do
J.A.
live
Bayona.
action. That would be interesting. I'm excited for the idea of this movie, but like none of the movies on his track record get me excited, and I don't even like the Underworld movies either, so I can't get too excited about
Oh
this.
my god.
So I sell it.
Oh girl.
But I buy the movie, I sell the director.
You go ahead. What do you guys think?
I'm staying neutral on this one.
No, you buy or sell.
I mean, I don't know anything about that director. I mean,
So
I
you're
don't-
buying.
I don't know. When I first
Do you
heard
like
this,
the
I
idea?
kind of, but it's like I just whispered to him. To me, it's almost like Red Sparrow. It's almost like
Black Widow.
Atomic Blonde.
That's
It's almost
fine.
Like,
I'm cool with that.
if it's like Atomic Blonde, I'll buy the hell out of it.
I want it to be like Red Sparrow and Atomic Blonde combined, where the action of Atomic Blonde, but the complete darkness of Red Sparrow. Because that movie was
I'll
dark.
buy it
Yeah.
100 times. But right now, I'm just like.
It's just the director, man.
I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, Gio,
It's
but
not
Len
directed
Wiseman
for
is
me, so I
not.
don't even know anything.
Yeah, Len Wiseman is not.
If they just announced it with no director,
Yeah, I'd be pumped. I'd be so
I
pumped.
think
Buy it.
out of all those movies, I've only seen Total Recall.
Have you seen Live Free or Die Hard?
No, I think I've only seen the first Die Hard.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Wow, we
He's
have
also
some.
directed a lot of TV as well.
Yes.
Well, so.
Gio, you buy or sell?
I buy. I buy. Okay, so first off, Len Wiseman. Okay, so what he did with the John McClane character, bringing him back after what 10 years between Live Free and with a Die Hard with a Vengeance, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he did Live Free, so it was after Die Hard with a Vengeance. He did the fourth one.
Yeah, he did the fourth one. I'm saying it was 10 years between
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, it
third
should've been,
and the
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
one. What? All right. So with that movie, he proved to me that he can step into a franchise that's already established itself and take it and, at least for John McClane, make it more relevant in the sense that he was dealing with terrorism and the internet world of technology, the modern world. I was a big fan of Live Free or Die Hard. I love that movie, and I think because he was able to take the John McClane character, and I mean, we all know what John McClane turned into in Die Hard 5, right? He wasn't John McClane anymore. He was a shell of himself. But in 4, he still had that what made John McClane so special, just him being an inner city cop, you know, in the wrong place at the wrong time, but able to, you know, make it work, you know, take
Or the right
situation
place at the right time,
or,
because
yeah,
he saves people.
pretty much. But I think that can carry over to a John Wick spin-off where it won't feature the John Wick character, but it'll further expand the world of John Wick with these new-faced assassins and heavy action, and just further expanding the world of John Wick. I buy Lynn Wiseman because I mean, let's be honest, these John Wick movies, they're known for their action. They're not known for the story. We all know how the third John Wick ended, and some of us had some problems with it. Some of us didn't. But I buy this idea. It's going to be a fun action, dark movie with a lot of violence, and I buy Lynn Wiseman as the director. We're not talking about an Academy Award-winning stuff.
We'll see, man.
So.
Well said, though. You almost changed my mind, Gio.
Not
all right,
even close.
so next we got a casting. So I'm gonna try to pronounce this, but do we buy or sell Yahya Abdul-Mateen II cast in a lead role in Matrix 4? For those of you who don't know who that is, he played the Black Manta in Aquaman, and I 100% buy this. I didn't love the Black Manta character in Aquaman, but he was amazing
He was great.
as that character. He was intimidating, and he played it very well. I 100% buy this. Brian?
I've never seen the Matrix movies. So.
Huh? You never
Okay.
seen The Matrix?
But no, so
Do you
do you buy his
him
casting though?
in
Do you
an
like him?
action movie? Like,
I mean, he was great as Black Manta. I don't know him in anything else.
So you have seen him in something else. He was the dad of Lupita Nyong'o's younger version in Us, the
you mean
abusive
dad,
father.
They never showed his face. It was literally when he was sitting in the office from the waist up.
No, in Us, in the carnival, when she was a kid.
no,
Oh yeah, he was.
When she was a
Wait,
kid.
don't spoil it, I haven't seen it.
2 minutes.
He was the father in the past. He was the father in the
That was
past.
like 2 minutes.
And he's also
he's also in something else that I've seen.
he's also going to be the lead in Watchmen, the TV show.
Oh, really?
He's in Watchmen.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with him. It's again subject matter. I don't know.
He's in Handmaid's Tale, Jacob.
I don't watch that show,
Oh, okay.
but
The Greatest Showman?
something- Maybe.
So for me, I buy it. You almost had his name, by the way. It's not Yahya, it's Yahya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
So you
have
almost
no
got it.
idea, yeah.
No, I buy it.
Oh, Baywatch is the one I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Oh, the
in it.
cop.
He's the one, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so I buy this. I do. I like the casting. I think he's kind of like
Is he the lead? Did they say?
it's
That-
in a lead role, so we don't know what that means. A lot of people are thinking he may be playing a young Morpheus, or connected to Morpheus
Well,
somehow.
He could be. It could be a situation like, let's say, The Force Awakens, where they're passing the torch on to younger.
Very
cast
well,
members.
very much.
Even though Keanu Reeves doesn't look much younger than this guy.
So there's actually a lot of questions right now because a writer, I think it was Zach Penn, came out and said that there's actually 2 Matrix movies out in development right now, a prequel and Matrix 4, which is what Wachowski's doing.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of people are maybe thinking that whoever reported this may have got the lines crossed and he may be actually for the prequel and not for Matrix 4.
Who they could actually be connected in a way where he's in both, and there's in the Matrix there's ways to go see a younger version of the
Well,
character.
and he
Yeah.
looks like he can play a young Morpheus,
Yeah.
obviously, but why would he be a Morpheus in Matrix 4 and not bring back Lawrence Fishburne? Because he was alive in the last one. So I don't know, but as far as the casting goes, I like it. I think he's a really good young actor who's kind of popping up on the scene now, and I think that he
Can they
can
have
do the
kids
thing.
in the Matrix? I don't know. Was he
Probably.
Morpheus' son?
Maybe, or related to somehow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I completely buy this casting. I thought he was fantastic in Aquaman. I think he just has that commanding on-screen presence. Not like on the level of Will Smith or Dwayne Johnson, but he definitely has that potential. what concerns me are the Wachowskis, and what they're gonna do for a Matrix.
And I think only one of them is
Lana.
is directing. this,
Lana
yeah.
Wachowski, yeah.
Only Lana.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm just curious to see where they go with the Matrix. I mean, we're talking about when this movie comes out, it'll be what, 22 years, 23 years. You know, Keanu Reeves is arguably at the height of his career right now. He's having a career year, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and technology has caught up, and you know, CGI and effects have never, you know, looked better. You know, the Avatar sequel's on the way as well. What more can Matrix offer if it tries to live off of the hype of the effects that it was, the bullet time, and all the other things that it did and introduced? And you know, I don't know. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know if that's enough, but it obviously was enough to get Keanu Reeves back, to get what's her name? Carrie. What's her name?
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss. Let's say Carrie Fisher. Oh my God. But I don't know. We'll see. That's my concern. This casting is not a concern at all.
Yeah, the
This guy
casting
will
was
be
great. Yeah, the movie's questionable, but I'm excited for it. They have to do something with the Matrix. Like, it's too recognizable a brand. To just,
I'd
sit
much
there.
rather see a sequel than a prequel, though. That's my
Me
2
too.
cents.
Me too, for sure.